Hello, my karmically connected friend. Have you ever wondered why just a fleeting thought is powerful enough to sweep you into a violent inner storm? We often feel exhausted and helpless when our mind acts like an unruly wild horse. It bolts, jumps around erratically, and drags us from one worry to another fear without stopping for even a single second. But look at the image of the monks. They sit there as serene as a high mountain amidst wind and rain. That stillness is not a random gift from heaven. They have held the secret to taming the wild horse within themselves. So what if peace is not something you have to wait for wearily from external circumstances, but a skill you can actively train every day? Today, join me on a journey of mind training to transform chaos back into the silent lake within you. Part 1. The mind is the root of all things. My dear friend, the journey of mind training begins with our understanding of a fundamental truth. The Buddha taught that the mind precedes all things. The mind is the master. The mind creates. This means that everything we experience in this life, whether happiness or suffering, originates from a single thought in the mind. There is an unchanging law of operation. From thought comes emotion, from emotion drives action, and from repeated action, your destiny is created. To help you visualize, imagine two people caught in a sudden rainstorm. The first person immediately has the resentful thought that it is unlucky and all his plans are ruined. That thought leads to a feeling of discomfort, grumpy actions, and as a result, he has a terrible day. Meanwhile, the second person chooses a different thought. He smiles and thinks that this rain is very cool, giving him a chance to rest for a moment. That thought brings a sense of relief, leisurely actions, and as a result, he has an unexpected moment of peace amidst the hustle and bustle of life. You see, the external circumstances are the same, but the inner worlds are completely different. Life is not what happens to you, but how you respond to what happens. Understanding this, you will realize that the key to changing your destiny does not lie in changing the outside world, but lies entirely in mastering your own inner world. Part 2. Letting go of what is beyond your control. After recognizing the power of the mind, we move to the second lesson, a powerful antidote for the anxiety of our era, learning to let go of what is not under our control. My dear friend, most of the chaos in our minds does not come from the reality taking place, but from our attempts to resist that reality. We want to control the weather, control what others think of us, and control the fluctuations of the future. But the Buddha taught about impermanence, that life is a constantly changing flow. Nothing stands still for you to hold on to forever. Trying to control things beyond your reach is like trying to stop a river with your bare hands. The result is only exhaustion and despair. Consider this metaphor to understand more deeply the suffering we create ourselves. Imagine you are clutching a rough rope in your hand. The other end of the rope is being pulled by a very strong force, the force of fate, of change. That rope represents your desires for everything to go exactly as you want. When life pulls the rope in another direction, your reflex is to tighten your grip, straining yourself to keep it still. And what happens? The harder you squeeze, the more the rope rubs against your palm. Your flesh burns, scrapes, and bleeds. You cry and complain that the rope makes you suffer. But look closely. Is anyone forcing you to hold that rope? No one. If you just loosen your fingers and drop that rope, the pain will immediately end. Letting go here is not weakness or failure, but an act of wisdom and compassion toward yourself. To apply this lesson to daily life, whenever you feel your chest tighten with anxiety or frustration, stop for a beat and ask yourself this magic mantra: is this within my control? If the answer is yes, act with all your heart and clarity. But if the answer is no, like rain, traffic jams, or the attitude of others, then smile and practice the virtue of letting go. Let everything happen as it is. When you stop arguing with reality and stop trying to bend the world to your will, you will see a vast space of peace open up in your soul. That is the true freedom of one who knows how to go with the flow. Part 3. Returning to the home of the present, the soul's most peaceful shelter. Hello, once your hands have loosened the burdens that do not belong to you, our minds need a safe place to reside. That place is nowhere strange. It is right here, in this moment. We move to the third lesson: practicing total presence. Have you noticed that the wild horse of the mind rarely stays still in the present? It likes to gallop back to the past, to ruminate on old sorrows, or sprint to the future to paint terrifying scenarios that have never happened. We often feel that life is too pressurized, too much to endure. But reflect deeply on this truth. The present moment is rarely as unbearable as your thoughts about it. Try to observe right now. Right here, you are sitting, you are breathing, and you are safe. Overload only comes when you try to carry the burden of 10 years of the past and the fear of 10 years of the future at the same time. When you peel away those illusions of time, what is actually happening before your eyes is usually very simple and peaceful. How do you anchor the horse of the mind to the present? You don't need to go to high mountains or temples. Turn your most ordinary actions into meditative rituals. When you eat a meal, don't eat along with work worries or with your eyes glued to your phone. Just eat. Feel the full sweetness of the rice, the texture of the food, and be silently grateful for this nourishment. When you walk from your house to the car, don't just fixate on the destination. Feel the solid contact of your feet with the ground. Feel the light breeze brushing against your skin. Or when talking to loved ones, truly be present there. Look into their eyes and listen with your whole heart, instead of being busy preparing an answer in your head. Presence is the softest yet firmest rein to tame the mind. When you are complete with the now, anxiety will have no gap to creep in and disturb you. That is how you find stillness right in the middle of life's rush. Part 4. Observing without absorbing. Becoming the vast sky. Once we have learned to abide in the present, the mind will gradually become calm. But life will continue to send waves of emotion and constant fluctuations. At this time, the most important and subtle skill you need to equip yourself with is observing without absorbing. My dear friend, the biggest mistake that causes us chronic suffering is that we often unintentionally identify ourselves with fleeting emotions. When anger rises, we say, "I am angry." When sadness hits, we believe, "I am a melancholic person." We allow emotions to invade, color, and dictate our entire being. But the truth is, you are not your emotions. Visualize your true consciousness as vast and boundless as a deep blue sky. And those emotions of joy, sorrow, anger, or worry, they are just weather phenomena passing through that sky. There are days when the sky is clear and days when dark clouds swirl with storms. But please remember this carefully. No matter how violent the storm is, it can never hurt or stain the sky. After the rain, the sky is still there, clear, silent, and intact. You are that sky. The sky allows storms to take place within it, but the sky is not the storm. Or see yourself as a calm and hospitable homeowner. Thoughts and emotions are guests visiting the house of your mind every day. Some guests bring joy, some bring sadness or fear. Your task is to open the door, recognize their presence, and even offer them a cup of the tea of awareness. But absolutely do not let them take over the house and become the master. You observe them come, and then you observe them go. You hold no one back, and you chase no one away. That is the absolute freedom of a mind without attachment. Your mind is also like a lake. When someone throws a pebble into the lake, the surface will be disturbed. The usual reaction is to rush and jump into the lake to try to smooth the water, but that action only makes the mud at the bottom stir up and the lake murkier. The only way for the lake water to become clear again is to sit quietly on the shore and observe. Let the ripples spread and vanish on their own according to natural laws. When you detach yourself from fluctuations, without judgment or reaction, you will see that all emotions have a birth and a death. They come to teach you a lesson and then leave. When you maintain the position of a clear observer, you will no longer be swept away by the floodwaters of emotion. You become serene, insightful, and as solid as a mountain amidst the vast heaven and earth. That is the pinnacle of mind training. Part 5. The power of repetition and internal discipline. After learning to observe the mind like a vast sky, you might wonder how to maintain that serene state amidst countless daily pressures. The answer brings us to the 5th lesson, a core lesson on the power of repetition. My dear friend, there is a disastrous misunderstanding many people fall into, believing that peace is a random gift falling from high heaven, or a miraculous destination that once touched, we will own forever. But the truth is not like that. Peace is a skill, and like every other skill in the world, it requires persistent and regular practice. Imagine your mind as a muscle in your body. If you want strong and flexible muscles, you have to go to the gym and lift weights every day. You cannot just train once and hope to be healthy for life. The mind is exactly the same. The wild horse in your head has been used to running free for so many years, so it is very normal that it continues to bolt and drag you away. To tame it, you don't need violence. You need the discipline of repetition. Many people starting to practice mindfulness or meditation are very easily discouraged. They sit down, try to settle the mind, but only a few seconds later the mind has flown off to worry about tomorrow or agonize over yesterday. They blame themselves. I can't do it. My meditation is terrible. My head is too noisy. But please change your perspective right now. The goal of mind training is not for the mind to never wander, but to recognize when it wanders and gently bring it back. Every time you discover you are being swept away by a stream of anxious thoughts, and you actively breathe to return to the present, that is one time you are lifting weights for your mind. That is one time you make the muscle of awareness a little stronger. True power does not lie in how long you can sit perfectly still, but in the number of times you patiently and gently bring your mind back after distractions. Do not fear distraction. See it as an opportunity to practice returning. Be patient with yourself like a gardener patiently watering every day, even if flowers haven't bloomed yet. It is the repetition of small actions like observing the breath and letting go of judgment every day that will create a solid inner strength. Gradually, over time, peace will no longer be a rare, fleeting state, but it will become a natural instinct, a sturdy home protecting you against all life's storms. Part 6. The Power of Silence. When not reacting is the best answer. Hello, we have gone through the process of internal training, and now is the time to bring that power into real life, where friction and conflict frequently occur. This is the 6th lesson, an important survival skill to protect your peace amidst a noisy world. Choosing silence over reaction. My dear friend, life does not always happen as peacefully as when we meditate in a closed room. The outside world is always full of harsh words, misunderstandings, and people carrying negative energy they want to vent. The natural reflex of the wild horse in our mind is to immediately bristle for self-defense. When someone throws a criticism, we want to throw back a justification. When someone initiates a war, we immediately jump in to prove we are right. We call it protecting honor, but in reality, it is slavery to emotion. I want to give you one of the most powerful mantras for these situations, a sentence that can completely change how you communicate with the world. You don't need to attend every argument you are invited to. Imagine that every time someone provokes you or is angry with you, they are sending you an invitation card. On that card are the words, "I invite you into my storm. I invite you to join in this chaos and suffering." Usually, we accept the card and walk into the battle unconsciously. But my friend, you have the right to refuse. You have the right to politely shake your head and say, "Sorry, I choose peace." Image comparing an impulsive reaction versus a mindful response. Your choice to remain silent in the face of another's attack is not weakness, cowardice, or a lack of logic. On the contrary, it is the expression of profound inner strength. When you react with anger, you are handing the control of your emotions to someone else. You let their actions decide your heart rate and blood pressure. But when you choose silence, you are holding your kingdom firm. You do not allow anyone, any word, the right to stain the clarity of your mind. To do this, you need to practice the sacred pause. Between an event occurring and your reaction, there is always a gap. That gap is freedom. When anger flares up, don't speak immediately, don't act immediately. Take a deep breath, step back, and observe the storm happening outside and inside yourself. Ask yourself, will reacting now bring peace, or will it just add fuel to the fire? Reaction is the instinct of the beast, but response is the wisdom of the human. Reaction is fast, hasty, and often causes regret. Response is slow, thorough, and constructive. When you choose silence, you are giving yourself time to move from reaction to response. Sometimes the most powerful answer is not a sharp argument, but a tolerant smile and a silence full of understanding. You don't need to win every debate. You only need to win the battle of maintaining your own serenity. Remember, your energy is your most precious asset. Do not waste it on unworthy battles. Choose peace, for it is the most glorious victory. Part 7. Nurturing the compassionate mind. Embracing the pain of others and your own. Hello, we have reached the deepest level and the pinnacle of the mind training journey. If silence helps you stand firm against the storm, then this 7th lesson will help you transform that storm into cool raindrops that nourish the soul. That is the power of compassion. My dear friend, when mentioning compassion, we often fall into a disastrous misunderstanding. We think compassion is synonymous with weakness, submissiveness, or resignation to being trampled by others. But in the wisdom of Buddhism, compassion is a source of the most intense inner strength, requiring extraordinary courage. Compassion is not sentimentality. It is the ability to see through the suffering of others and oneself so as not to be swept into the vortex of hatred. Try looking back at the people who have hurt you, those who always bring discomfort and anger. Our natural reflex is to hate and want to punish them. But try for once to look deeper into their souls with the eyes of wisdom. The Buddha taught that a happy person never goes about harming others. Only those carrying deep wounds, extreme fears, and great insecurity feel the need to attack others to relieve their own pain. Their cruel actions or bitter words are actually the clumsy cries for help of a bleeding soul. When you see the suffering operating within them, the anger in you will automatically vanish, making room for compassion. You no longer want to fight them. You only feel pity for their ignorance, and at that moment, you are liberated. Compassion is the sturdiest shield protecting your peace, for no fire of resentment can burn a heart overflowing with love. But the journey of compassion cannot be complete without one of the most important pieces: compassion for oneself. This is often the thing we forget most. Have you noticed that we often find it very easy to forgive the mistakes of others, yet are extremely harsh with ourselves? When you try to meditate but the mind wanders, you blame yourself for being incompetent. When you slip up in a moment of anger, you agonize over yourself for many days and nights. You become your own most ruthless judge. Please remember the image of the wild horse we spoke of at the beginning. If you want to tame a horse, you cannot use lashes and punishment to make it obey. That way only makes the horse more panicked and aggressive. You need patience, gentle strokes, and reassuring whispers. Your mind is exactly the same. It needs your love to calm down. Next time you fall, when you feel you aren't good enough, or when negative emotions rush in, please do not turn your back on yourself. Do not judge your own weakness. Place your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath and tell yourself that it's okay. I know you are hurting. I know you are trying, and I am here to love you. Healing only truly happens when you know how to embrace your imperfect parts with all gentleness. When wisdom helps, you see the nature of the problem, and compassion helps you embrace all pain. Then your mind will not only be a silent lake, but also a warm lake that nourishes life. That is the state of absolute balance, where you have the steadiness of the mountain and the vastness of the sea, and your heart becomes the safest shelter for yourself and for the world around you. That is the final destination of the mind training journey. My dear friend, so we have completed the journey of 7 lessons to transform consciousness. From recognizing the wild horse bolting with chaotic thoughts, learning to let go of the burning rope of control, to nurturing compassion to resolve all suffering. Please engrave in your heart that mind training is not a sprint to reach a destination quickly, but a persistent and gentle journey of a lifetime. There will be days when the lake of your consciousness is as flat as a mirror, reflecting the clear sky. But there will also be days when storms rise, making the water murky again, and the wild horse wants to break the reins. That is completely normal for the human condition. In those times, please do not be discouraged, and do not turn to blame yourself. What matters is not that you never fall or get distracted, but that you always know how to stand up, smile with tolerance, and gently bring your mind back to the home of the present. Peace does not mean you have to escape to a place where there is no noise, no trouble, or no hard work. True peace is right in the middle of that chaos, and your heart still maintains stillness and clarity. You have the map and the necessary tools in your hands now. All that remains is your own patient and sincere practice every day. If these sharings bring you a little light or relief, That is my greatest happiness. Plant a wholesome seed by hitting the subscribe button so we can continue to accompany each other on the path of awakening. May your mind always be serene and at ease like an autumn lake, and may your heart always be wide open to love this life. Goodbye, and see you in the next videos.